After the 2016 local government elections, one of the resolutions by the ANC was to work hard towards the unity of the party and fight deepening factionalism. Well, instead, as the race to the 2017 ANC National Elective Conference heats up, more and more leaders find themselves turning to the courts to resolve internal issues. Does this mean that the oldest movement in Africa has become incapable of resolving its conflicts through internal processes? Well, to help us unpack, we're joined in studio by Political Analyst Ralph Mathekga. Good to see you, Ralph. Welcome to Morning Live again.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Lots to get through in this period because we've seen so much going on in the different provinces and the different PECs. So let's start off in KwaZulu-Natal. All right, so the case of the 2015 elective conference saw that a new leadership take over. So after the recent court decision that nullified this conference, they're still in charge. You know, talk to us about what your views on KZN.
I mean, if you look at the law, how the law applies actually, when the court said that that PEC is nullified, it meant that it was nullified immediately then. It was no longer allowed to carry on the duties of the PEC. And some of its decisions that were made in the past, it also meant that they themselves were nullified. But I think there seems to be a misunderstanding in KZN where there are those that are saying that, look, we are not yet fully nullified. It depends on what we do, on whether we lodge an appeal and so forth. And we have seen here something that is very interesting, that the province and the national leadership of the party seems not to cohere as to what needs to happen in KZN. And then it reflects the deep divisions within the party, because at the center of this tussles, Leon, it's a question of the credentials. It's a question as to who gets elected to the PEC and who is going to prepare that province for the elective conference, and how that preparation will go about. Who's going to be sent to the national conference when it comes to the elective conference later on. That is at the center of this. So those who want to continue with the status quo in KZN are actually saying that we are not yet fully nullified. We can prepare for the conference. And the other group is saying that no, everything else you do is illegitimate. What that means is that you do have a risk of that conflict actually being carried over to the conference, because what that means is that you might have an illegitimate PEC in KZN preparing the province for the elective conference. That, I think, is a question that needs to be dealt with. But members, those who are involved in KZN, they are aware of what is at issue here. What is at issue here is not the technicalities of the court, it is just the factions. There are those who believe that the PEC is pushing a particular agenda, and hence they are contesting that space, because if you can have your members dominating the PEC, it appears within the ANC that you then have a guarantee as to who you're going to send to the national conference, and you can secure favorable result at the conference.
And you know, that's where the issue lies right now, because that will then be contested if the one faction feels you didn't send the right people, and the court has ruled that they should, all the findings should be nullified. You know, I know that there was there were court papers filed to oppose all of this and the appeal, but what's happened? We're just seeing assassinations, basically, the murder of families in KwaZulu-Natal, leaders being killed all the time. It just seems to be getting worse and worse, the situation there. What's happened with this court appeal, and what's going to go on until December? What can we expect?
Well, though, you cannot continue with the current PEC without actually going to court. You have to go to court. If you continue with the current PEC in KZN, you're actually defying the court. And I think that the problem is the environment of fear in KZN. Literally in KZN is a question of life and death. We've seen people losing their lives thereof. It also shows how members of the ANC have moved away from a consensus, that you have a situation where the survival of others, it automatically means the demise of others within the party. And I think that at this point where they are, I ask myself, do they have a time to actually go to court and have this expedited in court, or should they agree to a consensus and put together a kind of a task team, a caretaker PEC, just to do some preparatory work, even if it could reflect both factions that exist there? That is the best option they have. If they go to court on this, it will then result in another appeal and so forth. And I think that they don't have time to expedite this before the conference. It will only heighten tension. The best thing they can do is to sit down and actually disband that PEC and come up with a consensus PEC. That is the only dignified way out of this.
It certainly certainly is the only dignified way, but that would be the ideal solution, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
There are those who are enjoying the status quo. The reality is that each and every day pass without a clear indication as to when are they going to go to court and so forth. The current PEC sees itself as a caretaker PEC, which is wrong according to that court or the court ruling thereof. So others are aggrieved, and if you do not deal with this, what that means is that others might go to the national conference. Actually, you do have a high possibility that some members will say that the entire process is within the party. Preparation heading towards that elective conference were flawed. Hence, the elective conference itself might face legal hurdles where people might go to court to say that, look, it has been flawed. Look at the PEC, look at the regions. Therefore, you cannot hold a legitimate conference. They have a case to make, and they might do that.
All right, let's take a very quick break. When we return, I want to tackle the situation in the Free State.
Yeah.
That's a big one. It's been delayed. What's going on there? And the chairs in the Eastern Cape. That was another issue to talk about. So stay tuned to Morning Live. We're unpacking what's happening within the branches and the PEC. Stay tuned.